We first brought you the news yesterday. Georgia Southern has a new head women's basketball coach. Kip Drown introduced in Statesboro early this afternoon. It wasn't exactly a duel in the desert, but it was a showdown at Harbortown. Jim Furyk beating Kevin Kistner on the second hole of a sudden death playoff. So you could say the RBC heritage began and ended with a bang. The Savannah Chatham All-Star basketball games are back after a 3-year hiatus. Tomorrow at 5:30 and 7 p.m., Chatham County's top girls and boys seniors will tip off in the All-Star Classic. It's at Savannah High School. Beach High's Olufemi Gordon and Country Day's Dale Parker will coach the girls' teams. About a month and a half ago, this guy, Eric Johnson, pulled off the biggest shot in Jenkins High School history, leading the Warriors to a state championship. Now, that basket propelled Jenkins to the 62-60 win over Morgan County. Today, Johnson rewarded for his gritty play and leadership. Johnson signing a national letter of intent to play basketball over at East Georgia State College in Swainsboro. Slipping on the jersey of the Bobcats, he's set for his next venture.
To play basketball at the next level was my dream since I was little. From there, I will be trying to play in the NBA or go overseas.
East Georgia and getting the whole community of Savannah, inside one kid. You always talk about how hard work pays off and how big things come in small packages. Well, this is one small package that holds a big punch.
Savannah Sandgnats, beautiful sight right there. Starting a series that's in Charleston. Joe Riley Park, Brad Wake on the mound for the Nats. Austin Onay going down on strikes. Week had 9 strikeouts, but the River Dogs, they do come alive early. Jorge Mateo to left field. Look at Abigail Avellino, the slide out wide. 3 runs in the first for the Charleston River Dogs. They pick up 1 in the second, and they go on to beat the Savannah Sandgnats to open up a series out there. River Dogs win it, final score 4-2, and the Braves fall to the New York Mets tonight. How about the Mets? 10-0 at home. Bartolo Colon get the win over the Braves. 13-3 overall, and a lot of the players, almost half that roster for the New York Mets, former Savannah Sandgnats, moving up the line. For the past few years, the Mark and Mark Show has embarked on Savannah, all part of the Traveling Dog Show. Georgia Bulldogs football coach Mark Richt and basketball coach Mark Fox taking the tour like rock stars, spreading joy to the nearly 500 fans gathering at the Marriott Riverfront to hobnob with the top dogs. 2 teams coming off of solid seasons, hoping it's just building to even better times this upcoming school year. Enough of the pro-ams and the practice rounds. Time to get down to business and play some golf for money. First round of the RBC Heritage, all eyes on Jordan Spieth, the Masters champion, showing up to play this week, back-to-back weeks. One of the bright spots in a frustrating day, number 15, Jordan Spieth rolls it close. +3 today. He's not on top of that leaderboard. Johnson Wagner with the shot of the day, hole number 11. Looking for eagle from the fairway. Johnson Wagner getting it to 4 under par, but bogeys on 17 and 18 dropped him off that leaderboard spot. Matt Kuchar on 15, the defending champion, with the long-range putt to put it down, and he's on that first page of the leaderboard. Here's the guy on top. Graham McDowell fires a 5 under 66. He's tied with Matt Every for the lead after 1 round of the RBC Heritage. High school region playoffs. Jenkins hosting Brantley County. Russ, help me out here. Can you interpret this for me? Seth Gaspin there.
Don't steal.
Don't steal.
No.
You really don't know.
Swing away.
Jenkins defense. How about Hunter Mason down to Ahmad O'Neal, getting him to go down at the plate. Chances are you've never met anyone from Sapelo Island, reachable only by boat. It's off the mainland of McIntosh County. There's one community on the island with descendants dating back to the 1700s. Hog Hammock is the home of Kansas City Chiefs lineman Alan Bailey. A lot different than most people get the hustle and bustle of the NFL life.
Yeah, man, there's no traffic. There's no traffic going to work or back home. Man, I've been born and raised here, so going home, get peace and quiet, some relaxation from civilization and stuff like that, and then see family and friends. As a kid, it was a nap time. It was like a quick nap before school and after. So
high school was about a 30-minute boat ride to the mainland, another 10 minutes to McIntosh County Academy, where Alan Bailey developed into a highly sought-after football player.
I went to UGA, went to Alabama, went to Auburn, went to Florida, went to Florida State. So
How'd you choose Miami?
I wanted to get out of the state.
So Southern Florida was next. He continued to develop into one of the country's best defensive linemen, became a 3rd-round draft pick of the Kansas City Chiefs.
But yeah, that's me being the first one to graduate, and then everybody came down for that. All my sisters,
What does that mean? I mean, obviously that's a big difference between football.
I mean, honestly,
and
my mama cried at graduation before I got drafted. She didn't cry when I got drafted. She cried at graduation. That tells you a lot.
With a degree in hand, Bailey headed for Kansas City, now heading into his 5th year with the Chiefs, knowing he's made it.
I'm getting to my second contract because people rarely, like nowadays, you say people rarely make it to the second contract.
Give you a hug, goodbye. Get the hug. Yeah, I have been a wildest dream. Never figured he would get this far to play in the NFL football thing from a kid come from a small island like this.
I mean, the owner used to be R.J. Reynolds. He used to own, I guess he used to own the island. He used to do a bunch of tobacco and sugarcane crops, and the state took over.
Alan Bailey's at ease in the offseason, a tour guide, if you will, this perfect January day.
I mean, you go north and south. That's south, you go north, that's going west, that's going east, so can't get too long.
Bailey's proud of his heritage, humble of his beginnings.
Was it tough times for you when you were?
But you would never know that because my parents would never let it show. Plus, we got so much, we had siblings, so we never thought about that. We'd always have fun together and things like that. So we didn't think about the hard times, honestly. Yes, people. Hey.
He has no swagger about him because he got a nickel more than he had yesterday. He's just the same Allen.
Everybody know when I'm home, they hear gunshots.
Bailey learned to shoot at a very young age. At the time, it was to put food on the table. Now it's his way to get back into his comfort zone.
You think you are what you are, who you are today by,
because
being surrounded because of this?
Because of this. Because of where I'm from, because of this upbringing, because of the close-knit family and community. When you got hurt.
A community of less than 50.
But they do that more so up the beach. Like, you can walk the whole beach, actually.
Alan Bailey, from Hog Hammock to Kansas City. He's now a chief in the fast lane of pro football from this small, serene island.
Their own private island beach, right in the backyard
of South Georgia.
Bailey has improved each year for the Chiefs, the team just missing the playoffs this past year. He's expected to be a big part of the future in Kansas City and is definitely a football hero out of Hog Hammock, Georgia. Russ? Cazzie Russell was part of one of the NBA's greatest teams, the 1970 NBA champion New York Knicks. He left college at the University of Michigan in 1966 as the Knicks' top overall pick. Nearly 50 years later, he's back on the college bench, sitting next to Armstrong State head coach Evans Davis. Cazzie is quite possibly the most experienced assistant coach in the country.
They came to me, and I feel like it had to be of the Lord because I enjoy giving something back to the game. I enjoy teaching. I feel that what I have to offer, it can make you better if you'll listen to me.
They looked at me like I was crazy to start off with, and I told them to Google him. And after they did, they came back with big eyes, wide eyes, like, oh, wow, he did all these things. And I was like, yes. I said, but more importantly, it's the wisdom that he brings to, me as a young coach, my young staff, and these young guys.
And when Cazzie talks, just about everybody listens. A college All-American, an NBA champion, and All-Star. He's coached on the high school level and led the SCAD men's team for 13 years before the program was abruptly closed down in 2009.
It had become such a part of me. I was so excited about helping these kids to play the game because I knew after that they were going on to something else. I mean, it wasn't like the basketball was, it wasn't in the picture.
After that, Cazzie spent most of his time as an assistant pastor in Savannah and quality time with his wife, who passed away 8 months ago after 30 years of marriage.
Well, this is really a blessing because it comes at a time where I was probably going through the toughest trauma of my life. It is my passion. I enjoy coaching. I enjoy if I could make you better.
Cazzie himself kept getting better, on top of the world in 1970, when teammate Willis Reed limped on the court in one of the NBA's most memorable moments and helped the Knicks win the title.
And people were standing up, they were waiting, and they didn't know if Willis was going to make it or not. We were supposedly have kind of the same silhouette.
Okay.
So I come out of the tunnel and I walk, and this roar starts. And then when they notice me, it kind of dies down, as if to say, Kaz, you're okay with us, but you're not who we're looking for. And about 2 or 3 minutes later, here comes a cab, and the place just erupts.
Cazzie and his teammates gathered in New York this past weekend at the NBA All-Star Game.
It was great, to see all those guys this past weekend. Think back What a great feeling to win that thing 69-70. We'll have people still talking about it.
Cassie Russell, assistant coach, having fun helping steer the Pirates ship. You can catch Coach Cassie Russell on the bench this Wednesday night on the WSAV Blitz Basketball Series. We'll be televising the Armstrong State Lander game on MyLC. Tip-off set for 8 p.m. at Alumni Arena in Savannah.